Welcome everyone to the Dr. Greg Show, December 18th, 2025. We are in the thick of it, ladies and gentlemen. We are ending the year strong. Safe, science and freedom for everyone is going very well. Just had our meeting yesterday. We have a lot of failed bills in Maha that did not pass because they are bad in what they do. They have no idea how to get this stuff passed because everyone hates what's actually happening. They do not like public health being destroyed. These state legislators don't really get the kickbacks that the federal politicians do, so they don't really understand why they would spread more disease at the local level. Oh yeah, Ray Bay, we had a huge thing. We had a huge win yesterday. 2 days ago, we were personally asked by a Pennsylvania physician in order to lobby and support a bill that he was trying to pass, two bills that ensure vaccine safety and access. And we did that. We helped that, and it passed. So both of the bills are now passed in the House, and they are going to the Senate. So we're going to be organizing for that. We're going to be organizing to call and to email the Pennsylvania State Senate in order to try to get both of those bills passed, because that's a big deal. Illinois has passed a bill to help with vaccine access. Pennsylvania is trying to do that, and the meanwhile, about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these Maha bills have failed at the state level. So nothing but good news, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing but good news. Hey, Marissa. And that's what's awesome, man. I think that we are making an impact already. I think the fact that we have these politicians reaching out to us, asking for help, is pretty cool already, you know? And we won. Exactly. We moved huge. It's honestly a huge moment, guys, genuinely. The fact that we are actually tasked with something and we helped move the needle on something, however small. Do you know what I mean? We weren't obviously the main people, but hey, we played a part. And that's what's important. You know, you organize and you play a part together in these things, in these movements, and that's how you make progress in the world. Is you make progress one action at a time going forward. So that's what we do. That's what we did. That's what we're doing. That's what we're going to do in the future. Vaccines are important. Absolutely, Ray. And the vaccine access, basically they have three types of bills at the state level that are trying to be passed. You have vaccine access, raw milk, fluoride in the water. Oh, deceptive. We're taking full credit. Don't get me wrong. We are taking full credit, ladies and gentlemen. We're not partially responsible. We are fully responsible. That is 100% us. Don't get me wrong. How dare you? How dare you think that anyone takes anything other than full credit? This is a Republican stream, so we take full credit for everything that we do. You know, that we did everything 100% us, and because we are nothing but 100% Republicans here, so we are playing with Republican playbooks and Republican rules. You know, so hey, Skog, what's up, dude? Yeah, so good stuff, good fun stuff happening. It's gonna turn on some science news, see if there's anything in the news. Exactly, Koala. Yeah, exactly. Whoa, this just dropped, guys. This just dropped. This is cool. Do you guys want to read about this? The breakthrough of the year? The unstoppable rise of new renewable energy. Wow. They are covering the China expansion. Guys, if you have been watching this stream, we have been covering renewable energy very, very closely, right? Like renewable energy is the way of the future, not just because of humans are causing a lot of negative impact to the environment, but we have to do something about that, obviously, but also renewable energy just is cheaper. It's just cheaper. So what's happening is that China is investing billions and billions and billions of dollars into this, hundreds of billions of dollars. And more importantly, space, tons and tons and tons of space that we are not. And they had a really interesting, they had an incredible breakthrough. Wow, look at that. The falling prices have propelled a surge in solar and wind energy that far outstrips the growth of any other source. This chart shows how installed capacity, a comparison that favors solar and wind, which can produce a full power only a few days, unlike fossil and nuclear. But renewable sources together generated more electricity this year than coal. Look at that chart, ladies and gentlemen. That is unbelievable. Look at that. Installed capacity. This is global installed electricity capacity in gigawatts. Solar beats out coal for the first year. And now look at wind taking over hydropower and other renewables. That is absolutely incredible. Wow. That is unbelievable. I'm shocked. I am absolutely shocked. I mean, you can tell that solar has gotten a lot cheaper in the last couple of years, you know? So, I thought nuclear was super good. Is it not? It is in certain areas. All of these types of renewable and sustainable energy, productions, is good in certain areas. I mean, that's the thing, is that it's good in some areas, bad in others. That's the whole point. Basically, nuclear is sustainable but not renewable. That's the problem, right? And that's the rub. And but it's nuclear is going to be an integral part of how we go forward in order to fill in the gaps of solar and wind and that kind of stuff. So the idea that we could have these areas to kind of patchworks of maybe small breeder reactors, and helping fill in those gaps. Dr. O, nice to see you, man. A well-balanced renewable portfolio is what matters. That's not geographically uniform. Exactly, Dr. O. We're going over, this just got out today. This is ScienceMag's 2025 Breakthrough of the Year. And it's just renewable energy. How renewable energy has just taken over everything. So it is the unstoppable growth of renewable energy. This just dropped. Incredible. This is how short, and exactly, Doctor, it's inevitable. I mean, we are either on the train and creating this technology and people are buying it from us, or we are buying it from other people. That's just how it is. That's just how it's going to be. There really isn't, it doesn't matter. Wow, look at that. This photo essay. Wow, look at all those solar panels. Oh my gosh. That is incredible. The Green Giant. Images of China's clean energy infrastructure reveal a transformation unmatched in scale and speed. It's so disappointing. I remember when I used to hear stories about the United States being able to do that, solve problems of unmatched scale and speed. Remember that? Remember those days? Remember the history books? Is the United States still capable of doing that? Solving giant problems again that no other country can tackle at the speed and scale that the United States does. That we can be foremost, the mover and shaker in areas. We chose to go to the moon not because it is easy, but because it is hard. Are we going to be able to do this? At least we're bringing cola back. I mean, Coca-Cola, the sugar one, or is that what you're talking about? Exactly. KYJ, exactly. He's shutting down green energy. Exactly. We're talking about Trump is shutting down renewable and sustainable projects that have been in development for 10 years. It's ridiculous, you know? Yeah, I got you. You're making it sarcastic. Gotcha. Yeah, I know. It's insane. The idea that we should be shutting down these billion-dollar renewable and sustainable development just because Trump doesn't like the look of them or doesn't think that they're cool, and we've wasted billions of dollars and a decade of development. I mean, it's just insane. How can anyone actually take this seriously? Have you heard about the mathematical sequence of climate change? The mathematical sequence, I mean, do you mean about CO2 in the atmosphere and the positive feedback loop? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, user, I would love for us to put some panels. I think that we just have to do more than we're doing right now, and we have to be more persistent in getting it done. Exactly. Yeah, I did. Yeah, the HHS defunding. Yeah, it's awful. It is absolutely awful. I mean, wow. So tipped away from the sun, a row of mirrors at this. Oh, the concentrated solar planet. This is the mirrors one that heats up the salt. There's actually one. This is it. Oh my gosh, guys. This right here. This is all these mirrors focus this molten salt right here. This is actually, if you come from Southern California to Vegas, you can actually see one of these. They actually have one, but this is like 100 times bigger than what we have. Hey Dave, what's up, dude? Hey, what's up, Seattle? Shout out to all my Seattle folks. And basically, we are shutting it down, unfortunately. We're shutting it down. China is making one that's 100 times bigger, and we are shutting it down. Basically, these mirrors shine onto this molten salt. That molten salt heats up water. That water boils, basically, becomes gas, and then that kind of pushes the whole thing forward. There you go. Look how bright that thing shines. 565 degrees Celsius. That is unbelievable. That is so cool. Wow. Solar panels erected in a river shallow provide shade for geese as well as power for China's grid. The country's bounty of solar power has cut electricity costs and driven investments in batteries and other technologies for storing it at night and on cloudy days. Imagine that. Why are we shutting it down? Because of cost. It costs too much to run. We're not actually funding it anymore. You know, we're not actually pushing it. So when the government doesn't, help fund those large investments, they don't really make sense economically. So they kind of go away. That's what's so awful about it. It's crazy. It's honestly, it's very frustrating. So, we have to do better in holding these, talking about these issues. It's so tough. I mean, we are so hand to mouth right now, I feel like, in the United States, trying to fight off the ever encroachment of fascism, for example. It's hard for us to even think about long-term economic development, long-term renewable and sustainable energy development. But man, this is what's going to set us back, not just now, but in the future, right? For decades. We will catch up eventually. I mean, maybe not. I mean, a good point of this is, Solar. So solar in the 1970s, we were the leaders of it. We created, helped create this stuff, the research. And unfortunately, guess what? It went away because of Reagan. And then just now, I mean, look where it is now. So we might look at, a 30, 40-year slump on a lot of this stuff, if it ever even comes back. It might just be us forever lollygagging kind of thing and forever behind. Dave, we need a full-on FDR-style Green New Deal. Would be a huge boost for the economy. Dave, I have good news and bad news. Good news. We did it. We already passed it. We did that. Bigger than the Green New Deal. Bigger than what the Green New Deal even set out to do. We passed the biggest ever renewable and sustainable energy development bill. We passed hundreds of billions of dollars to redo our infrastructure. We passed a ton of incredible bills that did exactly that. And we had them invested into 10-year programs so that they were rolled out responsibly and to the right businesses, and spurring developments into new technologies that would be for the next 100 years. Yep, the CHIPS and Science Act. But guess what, man? That was passed by Biden. That was the Inflation Reduction Act. That was the the infrastructure bill, and the CHIPS and Science Act. We had those. And guess what? That was $400 billion left in carbon credits and money to renewable and sustainable energy development that was raided by and taken by the Trump administration in order to pass through budget reconciliation their tax cuts for the billionaires. So that they had to take the money from somewhere. They had to take money from somewhere to offset all the money that was going to the billionaires. So they took it out of your future. They took it out of your future to have and live in a country that is a leader in this space, and gave that to Bezos, Elon Musk, and all those guys. So it is disgusting. Your future was taken from you. Absolutely. And it's unfathomable that people just don't understand it. They don't know this. And you can see it. Like, what investment are the billionaires making now that are going to be better than half a decade of science spending? I mean, we spend about $100 billion a year between all of the federal programs. And what are they going to do that's as good as a half a decade of science research? Nothing. They're going to do nothing that's like that, right? They have no idea what they're going to do. And basically, the Trump administration sold us all out. And that's where we stand now. It's disgusting. Here we go. So the fiberglass halves of a single wind turbine blade that shape, wow. Look how big that thing is. That thing is gargantuan. Among the longest in the world, the finished blades extend 107 meters. Wow. The length of a soccer field. Demand is so high, the factory runs 24/7. There we go. There's a factory in China. But unlike Trump and Republicans, right? What do they want to bring? They want to bring factories back so that people can mine coal. That's their big idea. Okay? Instead of making 21st century breakneck and cutting edge science and technology, they want you mining coal, not assembling the technology of the future. It's disgusting. Yeah, exactly, Cher. Exactly. They do want serfs, exactly, Skog. Here we go. Here it is. What are we doing in regards to this, guys? What could we possibly be doing that's better than this? Ready to carve the wind, turbines blades await shipment out of the Sany factory. I should have been on here when Biden was up. Thank you, Husky Mom. I was on YouTube and Twitch. I wasn't on TikTok, but thank you. I thank you for saying that. I genuinely appreciate you saying that. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. A 90-meter needle through the town. A turbine blade makes its way to the hilltop in the Hunan province. China has installed nearly half of the world's wind power capacity. Wow, half, guys. A wind turbine is erected. Look how big that thing is. That thing is gigantic. China has installed 50 gigawatts of new wind power in the first half of this year. Wow, amounting to 10,000 of these. Oh my gosh. That's interesting. It's like very round. It's very rounded at the edges. I'm very confused. It's amazing. Exactly, Ruben. Trump's mentality and ambitions are outdated and taking America backwards. Exactly, Ruben. I 100% agree with you, dude. Yeah, what about the whales and the birds? I know. I don't get it. I mean, they seem to be going really well. Oh man, look at all these high-speed rails. Another thing that we don't have. When will people understand that the billionaires are stealing this from you? The billionaires are squandering these possibilities and this other life that you are capable of living right now in the United States with these amenities that all these other countries have. And yet we do not have any of these while we fight like crabs in a bucket, trying just to survive so we don't drown, while other countries are moving forward and solving problems. When will we figure this out? Insanity. Han electric cars get a final inspection at the BYD factory, which turn out 300,000 cars a year. And these can travel 700 kilometers on a charge and cost as little as $25,000. Look at this car. That's like a brand new nice car for 25 grand. It's wild. Cars, most of them electric, await export at the port of Taikang, just upriver from Shanghai. China made more than 12 million electric cars in 2024, 70% of global production, and exported 1.25 million of them. We should be embarrassed. The United States should be embarrassed of ourselves. We should be embarrassed and try to do better. Where is our patriotism for trying to solve these problems? Thank you, Evil Con. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's why California voted in high-speed rail, and yet it's still not done. Yeah, like 20 years ago, too, Pat Dan. It's like, it's wild, man. It is absolutely wild. Wow, what is this? The emerald waters of the Karhan Salt Lake in the Tibetan Plateau beckon tourists and hold a beauty of lithium, critical ingredient on batteries for cars and renewable energy storage. Brines in the 160-kilometer wide lake yielded more than 50,000 tons of lithium carbonate last year, enough for hundreds of thousands of electric cars. Wow, that's amazing. Oh, guys, we know this person. We know this person. This is so cool. Wow, that's incredible, Dr. Oud. I didn't realize that. Lithium is primarily extracted from brines rather than being mined. Wow, that's amazing. That is very cool. Hey, Efon, what's up, man? Our government has squandered our ability to import these innovations with all this tariff BS. Exactly, Koala. Exactly. Who's that baby? That lovely baby is one of the people that got the gene therapy medicines that we were talking about. This must be a runner up that they're talking about. This is one of the babies that got a gene medicine, a gene therapy drug. Yeah, this is so cool. They're going to talk about David R. Liu right now. Ready? Custom gene editing, runner up. Guys, you know, it was crazy. In 2013, you know, when I read about CRISPR, you know, obviously, DiCarlo et al. 2013, Saccharomyces cerevisiae being edited by CRISPR was like a huge thing. We all knew that it was cool, but it was for bacteria. You know what I mean? It was a really cool tool, but it was very limited because it only worked in bacteria. And the fact that it went and actually made this breakthrough in yeast, we were all like, what? This can work in yeast? And then once you can show it can, you know, be working in yeast, now then everyone knew that, wow, it could probably work in everything, because yeast is actually very similar to humans molecular biology wise, kind of thing. It's very similar plumbing kind of thing. And I was like, man, this is going to get breakthrough Nobel Prizes. And it's just, I get the same feeling reading David R. Liu stuff. I'm just like, please, dude. I got the same feeling watching 2004 Barack Obama doing the Kerry speech. I was watching it with my dad, and because I'm a loser, I'm watching the DNC speeches. You are too, aren't you? You're doing that. Stop it. You're doing it too. And dude, you just get lucky sometimes. You just kind of like have that feeling. You're like, dang, I'm in the right place. This is a really cool thing. This is a really cool feeling. And David R. Liu, man. This year, a baby boy born with a life-threatening metabolic condition became the world's first patient to receive a personalized gene editing treatment. The feat could pave the way for gene editors tailored to people with unique or rare, ultra-rare mutations. This medicine was just a diluted form of rosemary tincture, diluted 1 million to 1. And it was an all-natural cure-all with no genetic modifications or GMOs required. Wow. That's amazing. No, of course that's not true. Of course that's not true. Of course that's not true. Molecular biology did this, ladies and gentlemen. Science did this. Research did this. Your research money, your science and hard work for decades in molecular biology did this. That scientists did this, guys. Come on. Come on, guys. Oh, share knows. Sorry, guys. Sorry. KJ Muldoon was born last year in Philadelphia with defects in a gene called CSP1 that encodes an enzyme the liver needs to detoxify ammonia. To avoid a harmful buildup of the compound in the blood and brain, babies with this type of disease must go on a strict protein-limited diet and often need a risky liver transplant. Soon after KJ's birth, researchers raced to develop a base editor, a variation of the CRISPR gene editing tool. Base editor, guys, we were talking about that could fix a single spelling mistake in the faulty gene. Isn't that cool, man? The researchers now plan to tweak the base editor they used for KJ to treat 5 patients with similar metabolic disorders caused by other genetic glitches. The FDA concluded that because these specialized customized treatments barely differ, they can be tested in a single clinical trial. Such regulatory streamlining could make it feasible to deploy base editing for other rare diseases until now seemed intractable because they stem from scores or hundreds of different mutations. That's pretty cool, man. They didn't talk about David R. Liu by name, which hurts me personally, but we all know. We know here. New weapons against the sexual scourge. All right. 2 new drugs for gonorrhea showed their mettle in large clinical trials this year, and both were approved this month by the U.S. FDA administration. The new weapons against the sexual transmitted diseases in decades, they come at a time when pre-existing treatments are failing. Man, this must be one of those moonshot things that Trump did. You know what I mean? For his personal. I kid. I kid. I kid. Oh, wild. Wild world we live in. Neurons make a deadly donation to cancer cells. I think scientists study genes with autoimmune disorders. Yeah, Petals. It's usually if they can do like, single point mutations. That's the big thing. And it's like, that's the big deal. Yeah. Maybe 30 years ago. Yeah. I guess, yeah, he doesn't have enough ex-wives to cheat on. And now evil. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Probably who he is anyway right now. Who? Why would he stop? You know what I mean? Who knows? It's yeah. Why would he stop? Oh, my wife's pregnant. Oh, time to go see a P star. Oh, wow, wild world. Wow. If you don't laugh, you cry, ladies and gentlemen, right? Is that what it is? Can you edit genes after birth? Ruben! God, I love your questions, bro. Exactly. So the question is basically, how many genomes do you have? And so basically you have your gametes, which is your germline, right? So those have a certain sequence. And then basically from that sequence, you have a bunch of differentiation to stem cells, and those stem cells then have their own differentiations, and they actually differ a little bit. So those are called, you have your gametes, and then you have your somatic sequence. So your somatic stuff is what's in your organs, your skin cells, all that kind of stuff, and they're two distinctly different stuff. So what your question is basically, can we do it? Can we edit the germline? And no, these aren't germline mutations. So these aren't germline mutations. These are after the baby's born, after the human is fully developed, after everything is there, and then that they're trying that. So these are for adults. These are for babies. These are for already fully developed humans. I've heard they fully conquered lupus recently. Wow, that's cool. I didn't realize that. Exactly, Helen. Laughing is the best medicine, I think. We are not supposed to be molecular biologists with a good sense of humor. Thank you, that guy. I try. All right. The tumors beguile an assortment of body cells into helping them grow and spread, including neurons. This year, researchers discovered how nerve cells provide this assistance by passing on mitochondria. What? The organelles that supply most of the cell's chemical fuel. The result is supercharged cancer cells that more readily spread to other parts of the body, suggesting that blocking the transfer might slow metastasis. Wow. Neurons make a donation. Wow, nerve cells provide the assistance to cancer cells by giving them mitochondria. What? That is wild. That is absolutely wild. How far can they take cures? Do you think it will extend so far as to be psychiatric? Oh, deceptive. That's really hard to say, man. I mean, that's like when you're doing stuff with the brain. I mean, I would say probably not for a really, really, really long time, dude. You're not gonna. Maybe cancers in the brain. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, for sure. But, yeah. I mean, we have hundreds of different types of cancers, right? Hundreds of different types of diseases that we can cure. There's lots of work to do. So, you know what I mean? It's like there's tons of really good stuff. The big breakthrough is what David Arlou is working on right now, is basically making it so that a single gene editing tool can be used for multiple types of diseases. Because right now you have lots of different mutation combinations, because like if it's a mutation in a gene, that gene can be multiple places within the genome, which is called a locus. So you basically have to design, and that's what they're talking about here, that you have to have a combination, a medicine that cures every single unique mutation at the same time. And it's like, it's hard. So if you can just have one for everyone, that's what you do, and that's what he has done. It's incredible. It's like sequence antagonistic. That's my breakthrough of the year. I mean, that is unbelievable. That just happened last month. They just showed it in mice, but that is incredible. Okay, you're pushing shots with strange dangers and denying reality. Okay, DRB, we can talk about it if you want. If you want to hop in the box, man. But okay, I don't think that you're correct. I'll invite you. Oh wow, dude, this is cool. This is really cool. You can actually have a lot. We have a lot more. They put a new update out for TikTok Studio, and it's actually really cool. Oh man, dude, I love these. Like, man, I just love science, dude. Genuinely, like, this is so cool. Like, I love how science like just forges ahead and progress is made, and like it's just people that are dedicated to improving society, that just don't care about any type of roadblock and are willing to just go through any type of authoritarian power grab, trying to stop this nonsense, trying to insert itself into academia and stop academia from studying this stuff. Nobody cares. You know, it's just people that are dedicated, that are contributing to something bigger than themselves, trying to better society. That is how you actually, that's why science is so powerful, because science isn't driven by money, because science isn't driven by greed. It is driven by trying to make positive generational change in the world. And that is what's just so amazing about it, man. It just gives me hope, and it gives me hope in the world. In the next 10 years, Chuck Berry, that's a very fast, 10 years is going to be very fast for that. But maybe DRB did not, it didn't accept. It's okay. You're welcome to request anytime, dude. An all-seeing eye in the sky. A new type of telescope designed to accelerate new sorts of astronomy has completed this year on a mountaintop in Chile. Instead of zooming in on objects of interest, as most other telescopes do, the Vera C. Rubin Observatory will relentlessly sweep across the heavens. Starting early next year, it will record the whole sky in unprecedented detail every 3 days for 10 years. The bounty will be millions of alerts every night, indications that an object has moved, changed, or suddenly appeared. In 1 year, Rubin will gather more optical data than all other telescopes in history. It will slowly build up the most detailed 3D map of the cosmos ever assembled. Wow, that's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, it's pretty exciting to hear their progress. Yeah, Koala, exactly. It is. It is very cool. My son is pre-med and just banged out a 179 over 200 on his organic chemistry final. Nice, Lazarus. That is amazing. That is amazing. Yes, Lazarus, that's good. That shows that he can study well. You know, you're not necessarily going to use organic chemistry everywhere, right? But it just shows like a good study habit, right? And maybe, you know, if he likes organic chemistry, that there's like an incredible, you know, chance for, you know, a biochem, you know, something like that. Maybe he could do like my friend did a master's while he was getting his MD. And you can also do the PhD MD, right? PhD MDs are people that are forging new types of medicine, understanding those mechanisms of action while they're also, you know, usually before or after they're getting their medical school done too. Yeah, exactly, Ruben. Yeah. So the Earth is not flat. I guess not. I guess not. Krebs cycle, Dr. O. I don't remember any of that stuff, man. I was like, you know, when I was teaching the microbiology class, like all those questions and stuff, I'm like, oh, let's look it up. I was like, I don't remember all of the stuff. I know. It's actually a hockey puck, exactly deceptive. I was one of my people that comes in here a lot is a flurfer, and she was in a live once that I joined. It was crazy. It was like 10 people, 8 people on the panel. Okay, those are the craziest lives, man. When there's only 10 people in the live and 8 of them are in the panel, and they were ferociously arguing that, like, there was 2 groups. One was like, it's flat, there's flat like a hockey puck, right? And then the other one was like, no, of course it has a semicone on the bottom. It's like an apple cut in two, and you're like, it has a cupped bottom. I'm just like, like what? And they had all these drawings and stuff that they were trying to like show to say one another. It was wild. Exactly deceptive. Exactly. I was like, how could you decide and how could you show any evidence one way or the other? And you got like they basically were citing Bible verses in order to say whether or not they thought that their thing was the best, and then they had like these drawings. It was wild. It was wild. It was fun. It was really funny. Ah, that's so cool, man. Dude, guys, if you don't have a telescope, I invite you on, like, when you're going out camping and stuff like that. You don't have to like bring a telescope. You can just take binoculars. Just take binoculars and just go out to the night sky. It's unbelievable what you can actually see just with that. It's so amazing. Yeah, exactly. The firmament. Exactly, Dave. Yeah, locust, Dave. Yeah, you spelled it right. CRISPR is awesome. Oh, thanks, Dave. Um, I don't know how many you can get for super chats. I don't know. That's a good question. Oh, thanks for continuing to fight, man. I've been fighting for change since I was become. I'm 51 and I've been fighting for change since politically active at 14. It's pretty dismal now, but we can't stop fighting for the future. Incredible, Dave. Yeah, man. Keep it up. I love that. I love that, dude. Awesome, man. Yeah, guys, check it out. Check it out. We just check out the night sky with an incredible like a pair of binoculars. It's incredible what you can actually see. Oh, Efon, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. That was very nice of you. Um, yeah, get out of the country away from the light pollution. Exactly. Can you explain exactly what CRISPR is? Okay. Yeah, so CRISPR is a immune system for bacteria. So basically, you have bacteria is encountering a lot of different things that are coming at them, right? And they're picking up a lot of different viruses, a lot of different environmental DNA, right? We were talking about that yesterday. How if you're a bacteria, you're actually taking in a lot of DNA and running it. You're kind of running the program. It's kind of like bacteria is kind of like an open source operating system that a lot of different DNA can actually run on. And the problem is that if you are a bacteria, how are you going to remember who is the bad DNA and what's the good DNA? So basically what happens is that the bad DNA, the viruses, right, they remember who that and what that DNA is, and they store it in their genomes. And that little piece of DNA is basically is saved so that in the future, if they're getting invaded or something's happening, they turn on that gene and all their fighters go out and kind of scan the DNA that's invading them. And they say, hey, Cas9, go and get this this virus with this sequence, and the piece of the genome that's made is going to be called the guide RNA. Or the CRISPR RNA. Either one's fine. And basically, that's going to have a little 20 base pair part in that. And then there's like a little knuckle that kind of binds on that, and that is the Cas9. So Cas9 is basically the part of the complex. You have the guide RNA, an RNA, like a literally piece of RNA. And then you have a protein, which is the Cas9 protein. And the Cas9 protein is going to double strand break, a little pair of scissors, molecular scissors. That's just going to break that piece of DNA apart. So exactly, it's a scissors. Yep. So guide RNA can be like thought of like as a control F, like a find on a document, right? And then control X, the cut and paste, could be the Cas9. So that's basically what happens. You know, those are the things. And we just discovered CRISPR, and we're talking like a dozen different types of CRISPR-Cas systems are out there now. It's amazing. So, and we're finding now that we understand what CRISPR is, we actually know that there's like CRISPR, anti-CRISPR systems. So viruses come in and they know that there's a CRISPR system there. So they'll actually try to change the guide RNA system. Instead of locking on the virus will actually change the guide RNAs of the bacteria's own defense systems and make it shoot on itself, right? It'll make it target pieces of the bacterial genome. So it'll take, like, the virus will take over the self-defense mechanism of the bacteria and make the kind of like the turret shoot itself. You know, it's wild. It's really cool. So there's other systems. There's split systems where it's not just Cas9. There's different types of different proteins that come together. There's tons of different ways that bacteria use it. And we're talking like 60 to 70% of bacteria have CRISPR in them. And so much so that there's actually even in our cells. So this was actually a big thing. This is a big thing. When it first came out, CRISPR, people actually didn't think that CRISPR was actually going to be able to work in eukaryotic cells, because the idea was like, well, if bacteria have these things, wouldn't eukaryotes have a mechanism in order to defend against CRISPR systems? Because if you're just, eukaryotes are just allowing CRISPR systems to go unfettered and unchecked into their cells, that's going to be a big problem. That's an easy dunk for, all of these bacteria to be able to just, insert that. And, well, sure enough, that was the working hypothesis for a long time. But obviously, because of David R. Liu stuff and stuff, we're not seeing that's the case. But native kind of bacteria stuff and native CRISPR is kind of like, the 1920s, 1930s cars. You know what I mean? Oh, thank you, Ruben. Appreciate you, man. It's like the 1920s and 30s cars, and David R. Liu stuff is like the 2005 F1 racing car. We're talking a huge breakthrough where we're on a totally different level. What's going on right now? I have no. Well, Lazarus, I hope I explained it well. Even if you don't know what I'm talking about, hopefully we can watch a video on it. Why would you not love science? I know, Cher. I love it too. Does my baby sourdough starter have CRISPR? If there's bacteria growing in it, yeah, but not if it's just yeast. Thank you, Ruben. Thank you, brother. Let's watch a video on CRISPR, guys. Let's watch a YouTube. Oh man. Oh, it's the Ian Carroll guy. I'm getting all his videos recommended to me now. New guru found, guys. New guru found. I love gurus. Gurus are so cool. Guys, don't ever believe what I think just because I believe it, okay? Seriously, don't ever do that. Don't even repeat what I say. And this is me formally asking you. We're gonna do a Men in Black mind wipe after every show, and you don't remember anything after this, and we're just hanging out and chilling. I hate these gurus. I hate them. I don't get it. I genuinely don't like it. I like them. I like the new change, the vehicles, the F1s. I would go even farther, man. They got to make the cars way smaller. Like I want them on the size of the Formula E's, because it's just like, oh, Ruben, thank you, brother. Thank you, man. You're being so kind. They need to be smaller. Whoa. That's dope. I've never seen that one before. They got to make the cars way smaller. Yeah, they just have to. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here we go. We're going to learn. Okay. Hi.
Is short for clustered
regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats.
Interspaced short palindromic repeats.
No, you.
CRISPR consists of two components, the Cas9 protein that can cut DNA and a guide RNA that can recognize the sequence of DNA to be edited. To use CRISPR-Cas9, scientists first identify the sequence of the human genome that's causing a health problem. Then they create a specific guide RNA to recognize that particular stretch of A's, T's, G's, and C's in the DNA. The guide RNA is attached to the DNA cutting enzyme Cas9.
Mm-hmm.
And then
this is that little knuckle that I was talking about, right? And then the little knuckle, and then I mean, they're not really showing where the sequence comes from or why it's there, but that it's from the bacteria immune system, basically.
And this complex is introduced to the target cells. It locates the target letter sequence and cuts the DNA. At that point, scientists can then edit the existing genome by either modifying, deleting, or inserting new sequences. It effectively makes CRISPR-Cas9 a cut-and-paste tool for DNA editing.
Yeah. I mean, we had that before, okay? So that isn't what makes CRISPR unique. The fact that we had, as scientists, we had lots of different options for DNA editing. It's just what makes CRISPR unique is the ability and how quickly you can make it. The fact that you only need 20 base pairs, and you can change that so easily and so quickly. You know, we're talking about like on the span of like 24 hours as opposed to a month. You know, I mean, it's a big difference. And you can do, yeah, no, that was it. It was only as a minute. It was a minute and 30 seconds. So, yeah. There's Professor Dave explains on it. The ethical, I've seen this. This is Jennifer Doudna's TED Talk on it. I've seen this. What is used like a replicator? What do you mean, what is used like a replicator? What do you mean by that? Commercial starters are treated with CRISPR-Cas9 to modify traits for industrial purposes. Commercial starters for yeast? Really? This is kind of cool. We can watch this.
Organisms that populate our planet, being human.
So Jennifer Doudna is a Nobel laureate from UC Berkeley, University of California. Like myself, you know, we're just staying strong. Public schools, your California tax dollars at work, ladies and gentlemen. Designer somatic input-output. Designer somatic enhancements via DNA hardware delivery and cellular utilization with system integration. Yeah, designer somatic enhancements. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, that's like a kind of like a good way of describing it. Nova did a really good special on CRISPR about 8 years ago. They discovered it in a sludge pool, if I remember it correctly. Interesting. I don't know where the actual. I think that they were just looking for DNA defense mechanisms. I don't know where they actually got the streptococcus. Have you reached out to Dave? No, but Professor Dave, no, he actually did a video with someone that I know. I'm like 2 people removed from him. I'm honestly thinking about reaching out to him. He's really cool. I really appreciate what he does. I mean, I don't know this technology. Do they replicate the DNA for the extraction of the base pairs? Yeah. So in order to make the guide RNA, you have a DNA template and you do something called in vitro transcription. So in vitro transcription is doing the DNA to RNA transcription process, but doing it outside of the body. So in vitro is outside of the cell. In situ, where they are. In vivo, inside the cell, that kind of thing. Those are the stuff. Yeah. Very easy. In vitro transcription is criminally easy. It's like you just put a promoter on there, put the T7 promoter, and you just done. It's really simple. Yeah, this is cool. This is Jennifer Doudna. In the late 90s, she is studying DNA defense mechanisms by bacteria. She has no idea she's gonna discover a genome engineering tool. Like, she's not doing that at all. She's a researcher studying bacteria and bacterial defense mechanisms. It's more of like a cell biology researcher. And she talks to Carpentier, who is a researcher in France. Hey, user. And that was in the late 90s. And they start working on CRISPR. What turns out to be CRISPR. 2008 is the breakthrough that they have, where they actually show that this thing is what this is. And then, by the way, it seems that we can change the direction of where it's actually going. So not only is this thing that we have found, but we actually manage to change this little piece of it, and it does change the target of it. But they kind of like didn't know what to do with it, or they didn't know what the next step was. And then that's when the George Church Lab in Harvard Broad Institute actually did the all-in-one plasmid, one thing, had the Cas9 and the guide RNA all in one setup. So super easy. And that's when in 2013, that's DiCarlo et al. 2013, the Saccharomyces cerevisiae paper that just took off. That is the thing that really made it incredible. It is very cool. But Doudna is one of my heroes. She is one of the best scientists in the world. The grit, determination, beautiful science, incredible papers. Jennifer Doudna is a real one. She's absolutely incredible. Hi, Mackenzie. So really cool. Yeesh.
The essence of being human is that we solve problems. And when we're faced with enormous problems like disease and climate change, we need to solve them by collaboration.
True.
I'm excited to tell you about a new kind of collaboration that will absolutely create solutions to these big problems. It's a collaboration that's unexpected because it's between humans and the tiniest organisms that populate our planet, the bacteria and other microbes that live in, on, and around us.
Microbiology. Microbiology, guys. I'm telling you. Ness, what's up? Microbiology is the future, guys. I genuinely do believe this. I am a microbiology PhD. I'm a little biased, but I genuinely do believe it's the future for humans, for materials that we have, fuel that we need in order to survive, food that we need to eat, all these things. It is an absolutely incredible thing. Hi, Night Flyer. Hi, Ness. What's up? The whole crew's here. Nice to see you. And the cool thing is, guys, that we are just discovering microbiology. We are just unlocking. We are with more than 99% of organisms, microbes in the world. We have not cultured or sequenced in the lab. We haven't worked with it. We don't know what's inside of it, and that's new proteins, new regulatory systems, new ways of living that we don't understand. So there's so much possibility. I can't even tell you. It's truly incredible. It is, Brittany. It is microbiology is a huge growing field. Yeah, it is, genuinely. Because of next generation sequencing and because of things like CRISPR, it absolutely is burgeoning. Yeah, it really is. It's a really cool thing. A lot of people I see can't find jobs, though, at least not for now. Honestly, that's not just scientists. That's all technology workers right now. But yeah, I mean, I'm one of them. I mean, there it is. So there it is. Yeah, it's the cuts in funding that Trump has spearheaded that's caused a lot of because biotechnology companies and science companies are risky. It's a risky investment. So when people aren't willing to spend money, they're gonna stop spending money in the risky spots early, and that's the science companies, and they're going to put their money more in like banking and stuff like that, which is an easier return on investment. But the guys, that's why public funds for science is so crucial, because it's the first one to be cut for in private hands. It's crucial that people we fund it.
Be small and unseen, but they often have inspired transformative innovations, including the one that has become the cornerstone of my own research. Over the past decade, I've been at the forefront of developing a revolutionary technology called CRISPR that has come from the study of how bacteria fight viral infection. CRISPR is amazing because it allows us to precisely edit the DNA in living organisms, including in people and plants. With CRISPR, we can change, remove, or replace the genes that govern the function of cells.
Brittany, don't let that discourage you. No. I mean, if anything, you should see how resilient and grit and the temerity of science has to withstand this and to hold the bulwark against this encroachment of fascism and nonsense. Like, people love to contribute even in the face of the gravest threats that people are still carrying and willing to go forward.
This means that we now have the ability to use CRISPR like a word processor to find, cut, and paste text. CRISPR, amazingly, has already cured people of devastating disorders like sickle cell disease, and it's created rice plants that are resistant to both diseases and drought. Incredible, right? But the next world-changing advance with CRISPR will actually come from using it in a way that will allow us to go to the next level by editing genes beyond just in individual organisms. We now have the ability to use CRISPR to edit entire populations of tiny microbes called microbiomes.
There you go, guys. That's what we're talking about, right? So, remember, microbes don't live by themselves. They live in communities, right? So microbes live in really intricately evolved communities. So what happens is when you're a microbe, you're creating and you're living your life, and you're creating, one substrate, and you've evolved in order to move one thing to another thing. And this thing, a lot of times that waste product becomes toxic at high enough temperature, at high enough concentrations. So what happens is that this toxic compound now, if you're two microbes and you're one person's, it's inevitably the energy comes from, the sun or something like that, and then you create, that's called primary producers. So, basically, those would be some type of photosynthetic cyanobacteria, that kind of thing, in order to take the power from the sun and make, assimilate that carbon, that CO2 or something like that, and then put that into a sugar molecule, and then that carbon can start being created and built onto, and that's what like metabolism is basically, right? So the idea is like when you're doing that, on the second order, the secondary producer that's going to eat that, that cyanobacteria that's there, that's doing the photosynthesis and that kind of stuff, you're going to create a byproduct that can be seen as a toxic waste compound at a certain percentage or a certain level. And you're going to evolve, another microbe is going to evolve in order to take that waste product and use it as energy. So it's going to use that energy from that waste product and shift it around and make something else from it. But then that something else now that's going to accumulate in the community, and then that thing is going to, make the entire other community die off because it's another waste compound. So then another microbe develops the ability. It's a niche. That's what a niche is, right? That's a niche is an ability for another organism to evolve the capability of using that as an energy source. And this is why, you have like, for example, you have energy from the sun making algae. And then there's diatoms and dinoflagellates, that like successive algae blooms in the oceans and stuff like that. They always happen one after another because they're using one thing's going to another thing. It's very, there's a community aspect of it, and it happens. But, the idea is like, can we actually edit the community as it is where it is? That's the big thing. If we can edit the entire community, we can be way more productive in our molecular biology, basically. It's a lot harder because you have to selectively select which cell you want to go to. So you're like, this one with this species, with this stuff, we want to do this edit. And then for this one, we want to do this thing. It's a lot harder. Yeah, it's very hard. Yeah, it is. It's a game of 3D chess. Sorry, Geo Miles. I don't understand what you're getting. Is it a joke or something? I don't get it. Or sell Ethernet? Okay, I get it. Okay, I gotcha. Coherent field. I guess I'm not familiar with that. I like the idea of the Ethernet, the power plants of the mitochondria, the Ethernet. Okay, cool.
Live in and on our bodies. For decades, scientists studied bacteria one organism at a time as if each type of bacteria behaved independently. But we now know that bacterial behaviors, both good and bad, result from their interactions within complex microbiomes. In humans, dysfunctional gut microbiomes are associated with diseases as diverse as Alzheimer's and asthma. And in farm animals, microbiomes produce methane, a powerful contributor to climate change. But when they're healthy, both human and animal microbiomes can actually prevent disease and reduce methane emissions. So to harness these benefits, we need a way to precisely and reproducibly control these microbial communities. So why have microbiomes been difficult to control in the past? It turns out that microbiomes are very complex and they're difficult to manipulate. Antibiotics affect the entire microbiome, and their overuse can lead to drug resistance. Diet and probiotics are non-specific, and they're often ineffective. Fecal transplants face various challenges to both effectiveness and acceptance.
Sure.
But with CRISPR, we have a tool that works like a scalpel. It allows us to target a particular gene in a particular kind of cell. With CRISPR, we can change one kind of bacterium without affecting all the others. Another challenge is that less than 1% of the world's microbial species have been grown and studied in the lab.
Hey, look at that. That's what we're talking about, right?
Fortunately, we can now access the other 99% due to the pioneering research of my colleague Jill Banfield and her breakthrough technology.
Real life ecotopia means possibility with this new technology. Yeah, maybe, man. Dude, before I met my girlfriend, I tried the dating apps. Oh my God, there's so many people out there that think scientists are part of a cabal and just grifting for money. It's so sad. Oh man. It is wild, man. The idea that you're getting into science for money is hilarious to me. I mean, it is not the way to go, dude. Definitely not. Do you think that maybe we will be able to extend human lives with CRISPR tech in the future, like 120-year-old people becoming common? I mean, I think, Dave, the idea would be like telomere editing, but I don't know how you do that. I think that's like a little a little far off. They are awesome, evil, but I'm just saying that you don't go to get it in for the money. A lot of people do think that there is a global cabal and scientists are all working in conjunction and stuff, like flat earthers and stuff do think that. Cher, what is a fecal transplant? Okay, so your gut microbiome, where it is inside of your large and small intestine. So the best way to change your gut microbiome is to basically change out the microbes that are living there. And it's like really long tube, right? And how you kind of get those microbes in there, if you go through the stomach, they're not going to survive because they have to go through all that acid and all that kind of stuff, and they're just not going to work. So basically you go through the other hole and you take someone's fecal matter that is healthy, that doesn't have the disease that you're looking for, and then you transplant it into the other person that has the disease. Yes, evil. Exactly. And I mean, if I had a bad disease that is making me sick and stuff, I mean, that's honestly like a poop swap sounds fine to me, but but to a lot of people that could sound very gross. But I mean, it is a medicine. It definitely is. What if scientists make a breakthrough in a field? Don't they get rewarded or sponsored? No, man, no. I mean, you make a breakthrough and I mean, there's no company that's going to like come in and buy your patent necessarily. You have to like demonstrate it. A lot of times you make that breakthrough and well, now it's out there and people know about it. So now the company that has a huge research and development team is just going to take that idea that you had and then twist it a little bit and then make it their own thing and patent it their own way. So they're not going to like give you a residual or anything on that. They're just going to do they're going to claim their own patent. I mean, if you win like a Nobel Prize, you could get $1 million, but it's $1 million. It's not a lot of money, dude. So, sponsored? No, not necessarily. You're not going to get a sponsorship. You could make a big breakthrough and have a big publication and then maybe get a job at a university from it, but you're not going to get like sponsored by a company. No. Exactly, Lazarus. Yeah, the lady who invented GLP-1 isn't rich. Exactly. Exactly. They're not like, they discovered the mechanism of the GLP-1 agonist, but they're not getting kickbacks on every single Ozempic subscription, you know. Probably the most selfless jobs are in STEM. Yeah, Evil. Thank you. I mean, I would say so, man. It seems like that. Geo Miles, if a scientific cabal existed, it would be the most transparent and ethical cabal in human history. Yeah, exactly. If you get noteworthy within the life science industry, he only got offered a lot of other jobs. Yeah, Quang, you kind of just, you would get like scouted maybe, like people would be like, okay, you know, you could come work for us or something like that, but it's not like oh my gosh, I'm a billionaire rich, you know, kind of thing. That's your idea, IMO. That's your idea. You should get rewarded. Yeah, Ruben. The problem is like these mechanisms are really complex, and a lot of times, I mean, science, you're discovering what happens in nature, so you can't patent a natural process. You know what I mean? You can't patent how things just naturally work. So you have to patent something that's unique and different. And you know, once that publication is out there, you can't do that. Quang, you know, you have perfect English. It's all good. Nice, Lazarus. Yeah, cool. You work at a thing. Dioxin? No, I didn't know that, Quang. I'm not 100% sure what dioxin is. If there is a input output 3414, if there is a cabal that I want in, Dave Marvin. Breakthrough equals helping humanity. I think most scientists are altruistic, humanists at heart, promote well-being in others while minimizing suffering. I think so, Dave. I think so too. I think that's a really good way to put it.
Metagenomics, which is a tool that allows us to figure out what species are present and what they're doing in a microbial community. Metagenomics creates a detailed blueprint of a complex microbiome. And that means that we can use it to figure out how to use gene editing tools in the right gene, in the right organism. You might be wondering how we can take this new knowledge and harness it to solve real-world problems. Well, we're bringing together these two breakthrough technologies, metagenomics and CRISPR, to create a brand new field of science called precision microbiome editing.
Amazing.
This will allow us to discover links between dysfunctional microbiomes and disease or greenhouse gas emissions. We can develop...
Dude, it kind of sucks. They have to do this. They have to do this because basically Harvard was awarded the patent for human gene editing with CRISPR, and the University of California was awarded it for everything else. So because of that, the University of California has to develop tools and patents that are for developing like microbes and microbial communities and stuff like that, while Broad and MIT and Harvard are editing humans in pharmaceutical companies and stuff like that. So even in the case of Doudna discovering CRISPR, right? Is she getting a piece of all the pharmaceutical companies and what David R. Liu is doing in order to, no, she's not, so she's not one of the richest people in the world. You know what I mean? There is no way that you're going to get a second CRISPR discovery in our lifetime. You know what I mean? That is such a breakthrough. There's no way that you're going to ever get a second one of those. So the fact that she isn't a millionaire or a billionaire, should say something to you, If one of the most brilliant scientists in the world isn't worthy of being a billionaire, no, I don't know.
Modified and improved microbiome editors and show that they're safe and effective. And then we can then begin to deploy...
Oh, no. Mackenzie, I'm so sorry to hear that.
...these optimized solutions to create the kinds of solutions that will be transformative in the future. So, how does this affect our health and the health of our planet? We know the poorest countries and people are the most affected by climate change, and it's a problem created by the wealthiest people. And methane is a big part of the problem. It's been a major contributor to rising global temperatures since pre-industrial times. Specific microbiome compositions in livestock can actually reduce methane emissions by up to 80%. But doing that today currently requires daily interventions at enormous expense, and it just doesn't scale. But with precision microbiome editing, we have an opportunity to modify a calf's microbiome at birth, limiting that animal's impact on the climate.
That'd be amazing. You know, basically changing the microbial composition of the stomach of the calf, of the cow, in order to emit less methane. That'd be incredible.
For its entire lifetime. And this is beneficial for farmers because reduced methane production means more efficient conversion of feed into food. Importantly, these tools can be used in the future to reduce methane.
It just doesn't get produced. The methane just doesn't get produced because the methane is being created by the bacteria. So you just wouldn't produce methane.
Emissions from other sources like landfills, wastewater, and rice paddies. Ultimately, microbiomes generate up to 2/3 of all of the methane emissions globally. So our technology could really move the needle in our fight against climate change. In human health, asthma affects up to 300 million people around the world, a number that grows by 50% each decade, and it disproportionately affects lower-income children. Our team has identified a promising link between a molecule produced in the gut microbiome and asthma development. With precision microbiome editing, we could offer a child at risk for asthma a non-invasive therapy that would eliminate asthma-inducing molecules, changing her life trajectory. And what's really exciting is that these same approaches in the future could help us treat or even prevent human diseases that are linked to the gut microbiome, including obesity, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. I think it's fascinating that we can now use CRISPR to edit the same tiny organisms that gave us CRISPR. In doing so, we're collaborating with the ultimate partner, nature. Together, we can use CRISPR-powered precision microbiome editing to build a more resilient future for all of us. Thank you very much. So Dana's given a great introduction to gene editing and talked about some of the nuts and bolts of how it actually works in cells. And what I thought I would do for the next 40 minutes or so is tell you about the background to the CRISPR technology. I think there's a couple of really interesting things to appreciate about this. First of all, the word CRISPR has become a verb, right? You hear people saying to CRISPR. And I wanted to sort of tell you a little bit about where this all came from. And I think it illustrates the way that new technologies often emerge. They come from unexpected directions by people that are not necessarily trying to discover a new technology. They're working on fundamental questions, and they come across, in this case, a mechanism that reveals itself to be something that can be harnessed for a very different purpose. So I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to say a little bit about where I think this is all going. So, the CRISPR field is a very young field. It's only really been around since the mid-2000s, when scientists discovered that a lot of bacteria have repetitive DNA sequences in their genomes that came to be called CRISPRs, an acronym that stands for clusters of regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. A big mouthful. What does that mean? Well, it just means that many bacteria have a distinctive feature in the chromosome, sometimes more than one, that include repetitive sequences shown by the black diamonds in this cartoon that flank unique sequences shown by the colored boxes. And three research teams in the mid-2000s noticed that in many cases,
Sorry, guys. I just caused a light flood. It was a light flood. Nothing big. Nothing big. Yeah, I do, Ruben. I do. That's my board that I rode to grad school every day. Yeah, I'm double board certified. I know, right, Mackenzie? Exactly. Yeah, man. So, man, this is an old seminar, 8 years ago. Crazy. Very cool. No, I went to UC San Diego for my undergrad, and I UC Riverside for my PhD. Yeah. Pretty cool. All right. Well, that was that. What do you guys think? Very much still in it, Heather. Yeah. I just replaced the filter on the dispenser on my fridge. I didn't screw it in enough, and I'm pushing the cup in, thinking that it just needs to fill up the filter, right, in order to like dispense the water. And then I like open up the fridge door, and it's just gushes out water. I'm like, oh no. But I fixed it, and it's working now, so that's nice. I wonder, Dave Marvin, I wonder if we could edit algae or other microorganisms to absorb more CO2 and pump out more oxygen, like Uber CO2 sequestration. Thoughts? I do, Dave Marvin. That was exactly what my PhD was on, bro. That is really cool. Yeah, so basically Rubisco is the molecular hand that grabs the CO2. And that is that inside of the chloroplast, the thing that actually grabs the CO2 out of the air is called Rubisco. And the problem is that CO2 and O2 to the Rubisco look a lot alike. And if it grabs CO2, photosynthesis, incredible, all good. If it grabs O2, that's bad, and it's energetically really bad for it. So the idea is actually to evolve a better Rubisco. So use a better Rubisco. And people have been trying for that for about 30 years in molecular biology, trying to do that, trying to take other Rubiscos from better plants and trying to put it in there, because the idea is that like a chloroplast is an evolutionary trapped cyanobacteria, doesn't have the capability to like necessarily be evolved for photosynthetic rates. It's more evolved to like be a better organelle. So it's two different things if you think about it. So we've been trying really hard. And in some chloroplasts actually have this thing called a CCM, CO2 concentration mechanism. And basically Rubisco. Rubisco. And the idea is we could use that, use Rubisco, or we could use a thing called a CCM, a CO2 concentration mechanism. Some algae have it, and the idea would be to add a CCM in the chloroplast to other organisms. So that's like that. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? It's a pyrenoid. Isn't that sweet? A pyrenoid is a subcellular phase-separated microcompartment found in chloroplasts of many algae. and in a single group of land plants, the hornworts. Pyrenoids are associated with operation of a carbon concentrating mechanism, CCM. Their main function is to act as centers of CO2 fixation by generating and maintaining a CO2-rich environment around the rubisco. Pyrenoids therefore seem to have a role of analogous to that of carboxysomes in cyanobacteria. And that's what people, this is what I worked on. Pamidomonas roundhardi. That's actually what you guys are seeing right here. That's what this is. That's what these are. See you guys, like you can actually see it. Like you can kind of see the cup shape of this stuff. You can kind of see the little cup shape of that. Yeah, they're really cool. They're very cool. Oh, thanks, Dave. Thank you. They're very kind. Oh, nice. You lived in Encinitas for 2 years and worked on REI while I got my helicopter license at Palomar. Nice, dude. Swamis every day, dude. Lucky, bro. Yeah, I surfed blacks a ton. Yeah, man. I loved blacks. I spent more time surfing at blacks than at school, and spent a lot of time there. Surf at blacks in the morning, and then study at UCSD at night. Yeah. Is that what makes mangroves super efficient blue carbon sinks? I don't know. I don't know if that's it specifically. I don't know what hornworts are, I guess. Are they found in mangroves forests? I don't know. Interesting. I don't know. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. I honestly, guys, it's so funny. I'm trying to think of new ideas, like science videos that I could do and put it out, and you guys are making me get ideas of what I could actually make videos on, because I just have these things in my brain. I don't really you know what I mean? You can't just what's everything that I know about science? Okay, DNA in the nucleus. You know what I mean? Chloroplast. I do have a chloroplast biotechnology one. Paranoid, CCM, Rubisco. Cool. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Rubisco is a very cool protein. Again, it has this small, there's a large subunit and a small subunit, and yeah, it's very cool. There's just some really cool, really cool ways of it. A lot of weird, how the Rubisco and the small and the large subunits get made, and where they get made, and the fact that the large subunit gets made in the chloroplast and the small gets made in the nucleus, and then the nucleus gets it's really cool. Rubisco activase boosts mangrove resilience and carbon capture. Huh. I don't know about that. Is Rubisco in animals too? No, it's going to be only for photosynthetic organisms. So, yeah, Rubisco. There's no animal. There's no animal that does photosynthesis. So that would be no. Rubisco. I don't know what that is. Rubisco activase. Okay. Oh, cool. Rubisco activates Rubisco. That makes sense. Huh. Rubisco activates mangrove forest is crucial for keeping that key photosynthetic enzyme Rubisco active, especially under environmental stress like salinity. Oh. Interesting. While research exploring how mangroves RCA's unique structure and function, perhaps as hexamers, help maintain photosynthesis for significant CO2 sequestration, a vital blue carbon role. Scientists are studying mangrove RCA to understand how its stress resilience differs from terrestrial plants. So it's basically like, keep it going, keep the photosynthesis going, even though it's going to be tough. Yeah, I don't know. Very cool. Oh, man. Well, well, well. What in the world? I traded Google for AI?
So I've got a confession to make.
What in the world is this guy?
I've been using AI to do research.
What is this guy doing?
About what the hell is happening with Venezuela. Obviously, you don't want to just ask what is happening in code. And what we did is we analyzed all the files using Claude Code to write a program that would analyze them all and then rewrite them all into a new file using a JSON format, which is much more condensed. Put in all the data we didn't want, got rid of all the data we didn't want. So we kept the email bodies, we kept the headers, we kept the to and from, the time, all those things. And then Valar 4, we know fund number 3, allegedly 22 million.
Oh my god. Hey. Hi, Ness. This guy's just crazy, man.
And 16. That is just 10 years ago. That is very recent history.
I can't take this guy seriously. I don't know. I don't know what. You like EvilCon? This Ian Carroll's in your YouTube algorithm? Is that what you're saying? All he does is cover conspiracies. I don't. It's like every weird like. BlackRock, the Rothschilds, the corporate government, the big club. It's like, yeah, it's some guru that someone recommended to us that is like, and I'm just, I just, let's see if he's been on Debunking the Gurus. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Let's see real quick. It's just like the amount of these people that tell people what to think, and it's just been increasing, man. I think there's a really good podcast or a show that's called like Debunking the Gurus, and they go through these guys and they just kind of like go through their videos, and yeah, it's actually really interesting. All right, it's 11 o'clock. What do we want to watch? Okay, let's do this. Let's see. Dude, honestly, Decrade, nobody really like requests up anymore. I don't know what it is, but like nobody really requests up that much anymore. I don't have like a stream of people to debate or talk, so it's like, yeah, it just happens, man. I guess so, DeGray. I guess so. I don't know. I don't know. Here, let's see here. Okay, let's do a custom thing. Do we want to do what's next? So, evolution, creationism debate. Or climate town video. Okay, here we go. Here we go, guys. Oh, no, stop. Start new poll, standard, this. There you go. There we go. Evolution. Whoops. There. This. Stop. I already ended that one. This is so hard. I don't get it. This. Start. You can only start up when, what? I am. Edit this, save, start now. Poll 3 minutes, start, go. Okay. What in the world? This is so annoying. It's all freaking. Okay. 1 for an evolution debate, 2 for a climate town video. 1 for an evolution debate, 2 for a climate town video. Might be depressing. I don't know. And 1 for an evolution debate, 2 for a climate town video about climate change. One for an evolution debate, 2 for a climate change, climate town video. Bum 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 bum. 1 for an evolution debate, 2 for a climate town video. Oh man, it's like a dead heat. Yeah, it's a dead heat. 1 for an evolution debate, 2 for a climate town video. Evolution debate. Okay. Man, evolution. Yeah, probably user. Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah, we'll just do the evolution debate then. This is the I mean, we did an evolution debate last night, so I'm just like curious. That's why I was like, But this is okay. Here it is.
Okay, disprove this then. I know what it means. I set up with
Welcome
the
to your
bodyguard
worldview.
in my brain.
What? This is the guy that I'm going to be debating on the left-hand side. Yeah.
I set up with a bodyguard in my brain what that means, and you can't disprove it. We've really only talked about naturalism so far. I really have some theism questions for you.
Look,
We're like 30 minutes
hold
into
on.
open
No.
dialogue.
How
and
do we
we've
talk?
only done me.
How do we talk about theism from a position that argues that talking is a determined effect that we have no control over?
What? Yeah, it's Planet Peterson. Yeah, that's the guy.
Promote the truth spills into many other
Kinda.
areas as well. Please join me in welcoming Eric Planet Peterson.
Yeah, modern day debate's kind of big.
Excellent. And Jim Bob is a published political cartoonist, commentator, and debater who focuses on culture and theology. Please join me in also welcoming Jim Bob. All right, so with that, we're going to jump right into it. I have the timer set.
Oh,
for you,
nice.
Planet
Cool,
Peterson.
Lazarus. Nice.
The floor is all yours for 15 minutes.
15 minutes opening statement. Oh my God.
Hello, hello. There we go. Okay. Naturalism or theism, what best explains reality? I should point out that we really didn't have any clarification about this debate beyond just the title of it. So if at any point you hear like Eric must do blank or he loses the debate, I think that's just a strategy to pigeonhole a very broad discussion into a narrow scripted version to try to give one side home field advantage.
Yeah.
Since the premise here is what best explains reality, I will be going with methodological naturalism, which is just the belief that the natural world should be explained through natural mechanisms and that the supernatural should be excluded.
Makes sense.
I hope the discussion today will be about explaining reality, you know, the topic of the debate, and not some meta conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's not specifically about evolution, but I thought that it was going to be, to be honest with you. It's like more broad than I was expecting, but hey, I gotta at least learn what this guy's going to say in regards to other topics, because otherwise it still touches it. It still touches it.
About how if naturalism is true, then a mechanistic universe that is purely cause and effect doesn't allow for knowledge. If you can't allow for knowledge because everything is a mechanism caused by a previous mechanism, then coming to the conclusion that naturalism best explains things is deterministic and cannot be known. This is a terrible category error. The fact that beliefs can be described in terms of the physical arrangements and neural patterns that produce them doesn't collapse their epistemic value. Knowledge is justified true belief, and truth is that which corresponds with reality. So whether something is true or false isn't determined by how it's instantiated physically, but whether it accurately represents the world. Saying naturalism can't account for knowledge because a thought has a physical basis is like saying calculators don't work because they just move electrons and flip switches. Of course they work. Just check the numbers. Now, sometimes calculators don't work, but we actually know how to check that. Go back to JTB, and thoughts work the same way too. Naturalistic mechanisms and the work done under the premise of methodological naturalism has the most unprecedented track record of success, and it's not even close. It's called science. It also has an incredible track record of burying long-held theistic beliefs about nature. Theism has never replaced a single scientific discovery, and it can't. The mere fact that naturalism in the form of science has this success record is overwhelming evidence that it is more likely to be true and certainly the most useful model. Any scientist at any prior point in history, in any culture, as long as they have the same technology and prior knowledge, is incredibly likely to come to the same conclusion as any other scientist. Our thoughts and ideas contained in our merely physical brains operating in a merely physical world work across centuries and across cultures, which is incredibly strong evidence that they are truth tracking. Meanwhile, under theism, whatever that is, you get wildly contradicting answers. Earth may be thousands, millions, billions, trillions of years old, created by one, two, many gods, isn't created at all, and God is just there. Sometimes they intervene, sometimes they don't. They may change, they don't, and countless other differences. There are not multiple different natures, but there are multiple gods. To say theism better explains reality is to make the claim that multiple contradictions are simultaneously true.
I know, you're great. Yeah, I'm just like, God. I mean, the problem with this stuff is just it's all gonna come down to like you just gotta have faith. Like what else is it gonna be? You know what I mean? Like what else is it gonna be other than just like, yeah, you gotta have faith. You know, I mean, like how else? But what other way of like?
This debate is already over, but let's have fun.
Oh.
Even if I grant that God exists and that some miracles have happened,
It is.
that God really did save that baby that almost got hit by the bus, what in the grand totality does this explain? Almost nothing. It's like debating, does science better explain nature or does Jim Bob? Well, I can prove Jim Bob exists. He's right there.
Allegedly.
I lost my spot. So, did I just concede that imaginary debate that we're not happening? That we're not having? No. Am I acknowledging the opposition? No, because granting that Jim Bob exists in that example doesn't grant any additional explanatory power to the other side. Naturalism, natural law, physics, this explains every single thing that currently has an explanation. There's no non-naturalistic explanations. There are arguments, sure, claims, yes, but zero explanations. There's no working model for theism.
Oh, okay. This is taking. I don't know what to. I think I'm not pausing it enough. I'm getting like reminders. This is tough. It's tough to. I don't know where to bring to come in. It's all just kind of like, yeah. I mean, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Maybe Climate Town it is. Because I don't know what else to say. Man, this is cool. They actually did a really good job making this new thing interesting. Okay, let's just. I don't know. I'll put a pin in. I have to watch this, but it'll be my homework. Yeah, I think the intro is actually a really good thing. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, let's just get it onto the conversing part.
For deism, for alternative that you will be
Naturalistic process that gets him that philosophical so they're non-propositional is he's giving his evaluation or false. They just occur. There's no true tornado. Did my opponent really notice throughout the grants
the open dialogue, gentlemen?
All right, here we go.
I want to there we go. I want to point out.
How far away are they from one another? Oh, they're across. Oh my gosh, it's like a huge. They're at like two podiums.
Gentlemen.
I want to. There we go. I want to point out one thing. Well, two things really.
Hey, Dr. T, what's up?
In my opening statement, I didn't know if this would actually happen, but I tried to predict what Jim Bob would say, and that did happen. So the whole thing about. If naturalism is true, then it's all causal and mechanistic, even your beliefs. Therefore, it just completely collapses everything. I addressed this, the fact that beliefs can be described in terms of physical arrangements and neural patterns that produce them doesn't collapse their epistemic value. Whether something is true or false isn't determined by how it's instantiated physically, but whether or not it accurately represents reality. And now I have a major regret because there was something in my opening statement that I skipped over, and it was another prediction, and I'm going to show it to you all.
Post hoc predictions?
Because no, I wrote this. I wrote.
Yeah, wait, real quick. What is? A bunch of people keep saying that. I want to see who Planet Peters is. Dang. Dang, guys. Holy moly. He's a big one. Yeesh. Ah. What is he? Okay, cool. He started on TikTok. Oh, cool. Is he? Yeah. Yeah.
Is my atheism based in science?
Yeah, like your beliefs and like not believing in a higher
Okay, yeah,
power.
yeah. He's doing. Damn, 368K. Ooh, jeez, yeesh. Buy my book. Dang, he has a book too. Dang, dude. Wow. Oh my gosh, dude, these views are nutty. My new book. He's see, guys, I need to write a book. Facts that aren't true. Popular myths, misconceptions, or old wives' tales and rumors. I was honestly thinking about using my I was thinking about using all of my content that I've made and using AI to look at the biggest questions that people have asked me in 6 months, and then write a book on those top 10 and like really dive down deep into those answers and really show with like data, do as many interviews as I could, like do that kind of thing. Yeah. I was thinking about doing that. So yeah, I was thinking about doing that because then I can just like sell a PDF or something, right? You know, like some kind of like book. Yeah. Anyway. Oh. Let's see his most popular video ever. What is he? Doot 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 doot. Here we go. Yeesh, 6.2 million. Dang.
My Father, which is in heaven. Numbers 31:17 through 18. Now
Okay.
therefore, before my Father, which is
Can you read 31:17 through 18, please? Praise the Lord. Okay, what? Okay, so what is that?
in heaven. Numbers 31:17 through 18. Now therefore, kill every male among the whoa. I don't like this verse.
That's Jen. Jen is a Bible thumper, and she thinks the earth is flat. I was just scrolling and I came across this, and she was talking about the firmament and stuff. So I shared it with Globe Man, and he had the awesome idea of having her read some scripture. So I suggested Numbers 31 verses 17 and 18, and she didn't like that very much. Here's the uncut full interaction. You will hear me laughing through the screen recording because it picks up your microphone. Enjoy.
Thank you so much, Jesus, because like literally I was getting a little bit frustrated. I was like, I know
Wow,
I
that's
just read
nice.
this. But yeah, so Numbers 31:17 through 18. Thirty 31:17 through 18.
Hey, Michelle.
Okay. Now therefore, kill every male among the whoa.
What in the world? What is it? Numbers 31 through 17.
It was like, wait. I don't like this verse.
Here it is, guys. Now therefore, K every male among the little ones, and K every woman that hath known man by lying with him. But all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. So basically all the V's. The V cards, you keep those alive. All right. Nice. Dude, it gets gnarly in there, man. That place is, that's, yeah. All right.
I was like, wait, hold on. Yikes. Hold on, let backpedal real quick.
Oh my God.
Who is my personal Lord and Savior? The Most High King, Jesus Christ. Who you think? Who you think?
Jesse, how's it going? That's wild. It's exactly evil. It's your book, dude. It's your book. Why are you surprised? You obviously haven't read it enough, you know? Dang, $25 for paperback. Interesting. Okay, all right. So we'll just go back to this.
I'm kidding.
I really hope we don't hear anything about true or false tornadoes. I thought this was going to happen, and it did happen. Now, I do have a response to this, because I've heard Jim Bob make this argument before. There's no such thing as a true or false tornado. It's just like a thing that exists in nature. And then also an extension of that is, if that's true for tornadoes.
DebateCon, it's like number 7. They've done like a bunch of them. I honestly wish I would have gone. I didn't really know about it until too late, and I didn't start like streaming until too late. But I want to go next year for sure, if I can. I mean, basically, it's put out by Modern Day Debate, and I'm going on Modern Day Debate on in January to debate not this guy but the other
just
guy.
An effect of physics. Then there's no such thing as like a true proposition or a thought or a claim, belief, whatever. The problem with this is there absolutely is such a thing as a false tornado. A tornado made out of ice cream is a false tornado. A panda is a false tornado.
We are debating evolution. I've talked about. I was like, I threw up vaccines, like a COVID retrospective kind of thing. We could talk about the pandemic. We could talk about lab leak. We could talk about all these other like things, you know, that we debate all the time on here and stuff. And he was like, I don't think those are good topics. Those are kind of boring for us. We kind of like, he either gave me an evolution debate or a flat earth debate. And I'm like, I would rather do evolution, I guess. So I studied zoology with animal behavior. Oh, cool. Yeah.
A tornado that drives a Lexus RC350 and has a girlfriend, that is a false tornado. There's no such thing as
Is this a false
things.
refrigerator?
Yeah. Because it's not a refrigerator.
That's not an argument.
I know,
You're just saying
exactly.
A equals A, and if something's not A, it's not A. That's not
Heather, it seems like it. It seems like he is a flat earther.
a defeater to.
I don't know if he is one, but those are the debates that they gave me, you know, as a choice. So that was the difference. So
logical problem that
I don't know what
pose.
you think true means, but it doesn't mean exists. It's an evaluative
Truth doesn't
description
exist.
of
You
a
heard it
thing.
here, folks. Does truth exist?
That's not what I said.
Does truth exist?
Oh yeah, no. What are we talking about? We were watching the debate last night, and Jim Bob says that he doesn't believe that aliens are even possible because he thinks that there's a closed system and that the sky is fake. So yeah, of course he thinks that there's the flat Earth. Duh. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. What was I thinking? Of course he doesn't. He thinks that the Earth's flat. He thinks that there's like exactly the firmament. Yeah.
In a way, yes.
No, in what way?
Well, let me finish this and then.
No. Under naturalism, in what way does truth exist? Basically, there's two categories that I hold under my view.
So, and honestly, guys, I am worried getting into these like more formal debates. I need to like I either need to like get my philosophy and my epistemology right, because I really have never studied that stuff, or I just deny it outright and say that this is insane and I'd rather just talk about the science and just talk about what I know. You know what I mean? I don't know which direction I take it.
There's immaterial and material. And when we say what explains reality, reality under both of our views necessarily include immaterial things. So, but you're saying
In general, site-directed mutagenesis of Rubisco has been mostly unsuccessful. Exactly, input-output. Yeah, the biggest Rubisco mutant library that was screened was in Chlamydomonas, and it was 80,000 mutants. They found one that was evolutionary advantageous, and they tested it. They extracted the Rubisco and then checked the CO2 binding affinity, and it even was higher than wild type. And then they cloned it into spinach, and it didn't work. So people don't really understand why it's not working. So a lot of the research is going into not evolving Rubisco, so say, but it's like the Pyrenoid and doing CCM. The Jonicus lab is doing that. Martin Jonicus. What are you going to do? Wear a flannel when you debate Jim Bob? I vote for a flannel and a Mava hat. Oh, the Mava is a good idea. Whenever I'm going to go anywhere else, I'm going to wear Mava for sure. I'm going to wear Mava. Absolutely, yeah.
Saying maybe not, right? So that's why when you grant yourself thoughts and evaluations, I argue that under your view, thoughts and evaluations are effects of previous causes, and they're new causes of future effects, and so on. You're saying, no, we can definitely describe tornadoes. We can describe things. I'm asking under your view, Peterson, in what way do they exist? The same way I asked you, how does truth exist? You say, in a way, and I'm asking, in what way does it exist? It's not, is it concrete?
Truth?
Yeah.
So I don't think truth is a thing. I don't think we could delete everything from the universe and still have truth. I don't think that makes any sense.
That's
I said earlier that truth is an evaluative description of something.
Okay,
it's an artifact of language, I think.
Are evaluative descriptions, under your view, mechanistic and material in nature?
In the sense that they come about through agents that use reason and their brain to do that, then yeah.
It's not Michelle, it's not about the high of debating. It's about science actually not being scared and going into these places that we haven't gone before and be going and representing science. We already know what it's like when science doesn't engage into these spaces. We haven't already, and guess what's happening? It's, wow, conspiracies everywhere. You know, these places are rampant with misinformation and disinformation. So yeah, of course, like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be afraid. I'm going to go into these places. I'm going to debate these people. Science isn't afraid anymore, and I'm going to take on these people. Like, I'm sorry. This is what that's part of this whole thing. No, but I'm going to debate the person on the left. So.
Yes, it's a little confusing of a question, though.
It's not. You have a brain, and you're saying the brain does evaluations and makes propositions. I'm asking you the ontological status of those things, being that you hold them to be coming from the brain.
How might debate change anything? It changes a lot. A lot of people watch these things that are curious, that have questions, that just having people on as a scientist and debating people here has changed people's minds. People have have completely changed their minds on vaccinations, and they have gotten themselves vaccinated and their kids vaccinated just by me debating vaccines on this very channel. It's happened not just once, like half a dozen times. So debate absolutely changes things. People that say debate doesn't change anything are completely out of it. And honestly, they're statements that are made by content creators that are afraid of debate and they don't want to engage with it. And they say that debate doesn't mean anything, and it's a bunch of BS. Anyone who says that debate doesn't change anything, do not listen to them.
That they come from the brain. They're also material and physical in nature. Are they or not?
I don't know exactly. So I think
like don't you debate ideas in your own brain? Don't you think about why you think of the things that you think and why and how they can be tested and what's going on? So in your own brain, you should be debating things. If you aren't debating your own ideas in your own brain, that isn't good. You know what I mean? That means that you're ideologically trapped and you're trying to, just have a dogmatic view of something. You should absolutely be debating ideas inside your own brain. Yeah, it's not about, I'm not going to change Jim Bob, right? Jim Bob, I'm not going to change his opinion, obviously, right? I'm never going to be able to change Jim Bob. I'm never going to have oh, wow, no way. But just the idea of like a scientist going into these spaces and being willing to like actually engage shows that like, wow, they're not afraid. It's important.
That entities such as myself, yourself, everybody here, we have beliefs, and I believe that they are produced by the brain. Now, what is the exact nature of them? Are they qualia? Are they something else? I'm not 100% sure. I mean, energy isn't physical, but we have a physicalist, materialistic description of what energy is, or like temperature. There's no such thing as the temperature within a container, because that is, it's not exactly emergent, but it's sort of just the temperature is a description of the physical state.
I understand. I'm asking for what is the status of descriptions themselves?
What is the status of
under
descriptions?
naturalism? Okay, let's do it more simple. Do descriptions exist under naturalism?
Kind of, in a way. So I would say descriptions.
In a way. In what
I would
way?
say descriptions are like behavior. Animals have behavior, and if we want to understand animal behavior or human behavior, that's just all going to be contained within in the organism itself. But it's an extension of it, a description. And so beliefs, or what did you say it was?
Well, I asked you. You said descriptions exist.
Descriptions.
I asked simple things like, because the debate is describing and explaining reality, essentially explaining reality. Under your view, you granted yourself facts. Let's go with facts. It's a little.
I didn't grant myself facts. I described them.
Yeah, you assume they exist.
Yeah, but
Do
then
facts exist?
but then I gave a justification for that. Correspondence theory, JTB, knowledge, all that stuff.
I understand. Do facts exist?
Yes.
Okay.
In reference to
Can I
things.
step in a fact outside?
Oh my gosh,
No, because facts are
epistemology.
also
Oh my gosh,
descriptions
guys.
in reference to
I know we got to go through that justified JTV. They were talking about justified true belief right there. Oh my gotta do my epistemology stuff. Oh my god, it's too much. I hate it. I hate this type of stuff too. Like the word semantics and all that kind of stuff. I don't understand why people are so pedantic, in this kind of thing. But I think that's like, that's what people. It's yeah, it is what it is.
things.
Okay, so
and this totally collapses with your view.
No,
on
it
this, by
doesn't.
the way.
In fact,
it does.
No, it doesn't.
No, exactly, Ducre. Like I mean, it's very boring for me. Like in general, like I don't know, but I need to get my epistemology on point, I guess. So.
It doesn't, because I actually have an ontological status and category for facts, and you don't. And so under, if we both agree,
because in my mind, like it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's street epistemology. I've seen the channel. The point is like, because in my mind, like the gotcha and the wordsmithing and the like I got you there, like that doesn't change the fact of the matter. So it feels very ephemeral. You know what I mean? Like how that just means it's like why are we talking about this? What's the point?
facts exist, and you say, well, they kind of exist, and I go, in what way? And you're like, you're not sure. You just go back to descriptions. It's a circular position.
Can you tell me what facts are?
Facts are statements, right, that align with reality, but it assumes that there's something true worth discovering. So a fact is a discoverable description of reality. But
I don't even disagree with that.
Well, no, you would, because if you think it's discoverable, then a fact has to exist before you exist.
No, because you said the fact is in reference to something discoverable. A fact is like, that's like a thought or a proposition that agents have. If we all cease existing, then a universe still exists. The things in the universe are the reference that create the fact. The fact is like an idea that you and I have.
Okay, ideas, perfect. Are ideas physical under naturalism or abstract?
I'm okay with saying that they're abstract, but like with the animal behavior analogy I gave, they're going to be emergent or an extension of purely physical things like you and I, because we're the ones that create or hold those.
To say they're emergent, are you arguing the school of emergentism that states that a system produces a novel epiphenomenal effect?
Epiphenomenal. What was
I've
that
never
word?
really heard of that. So what I'm just
yeah, I
trying
was like,
to
what?
do is
What in the world? Epiphenomenal? What in the world?
give an analogy close to the temperature thing. Like, there isn't any temperature. That's not a thing inside that container.
It's an abstraction.
But it's described by the physical things.
That's what I'm saying, is that under your view, if you want to examine and describe reality, because you're relying on science and empiricism, you're relying on a whole slew of things that don't match your standard, your criterion for them existing. For instance, facts. You're having trouble telling the audience how and where a fact exists. Truth, knowledge, information. Certainly you think information exists, right?
Yeah, but I think that that's also descriptive.
Okay, so when I ask him, does information exist, and he says yes, he says, but it's a description, and I say, oh, do descriptions exist? He says yes. So I'm asking under a naturalistic view that holds a purely naturalistic view. It's pure material, right? It's physicalism, right? It's physicalism. So all the things he says exist must be verified.
Yeah, exhausting word semantics and circular arguments. These two are debating what a fact is. It's ridiculous. Any good faith debate begins with and agrees with premises. Yeah, I would hope. Yeah, exactly, Dave. Yeah, I agree in terms. Yeah, exactly. Ghostbusters. Yeah, they're supposed to be talking about like, not this, but here we go. Here it is.
Through his criterion, which is empiricism. And I'm simply asking him under his worldview, if he's going to say facts exist and descriptions exist, laws of logic exist, knowledge exists, information, meaning, and the rest, he's going to have to, through his own system, demonstrate how they exist. What way do they exist? He doesn't, his system is measuring it, right? His system is weighing it, looking at it. But he can't see these things.
They have a moderator right there.
Naturalism cannot account for the immateriality of the category that he's using to then do science. He just grants himself this thing. Oh, we have evaluations. Yeah, knowledge and truth exist, but it's like, it's not identical to an apple. I know, but under your view, it must be. And so you have this view. Also, you said the term agency. You don't believe you have agency, do you?
Well, I said that I am an agent.
So can you be an agent and not have agency?
Like, are you asking me, does free will exist? Because that's what it sounds
like. In a sense, like, are you actively, from your experience, from your worldview, pursuing knowledge and truth right now?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So you have a will?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you could just adopt a compatibilist view that I don't believe that you freely actually make any decisions, but when you act in like accordance with whatever your desires are, then you are using your free will.
So you didn't decide or choose naturalism?
No, and you didn't decide yours either. It was preordained for you by your God.
Okay, wait, hold on. So if naturalism holds that I came to theism from a set of dominoes, and you came to naturalism from a set of dominoes,
I think that they have to talk. They're talking about this because it's like who is deciding what reality is, right? If like, wouldn't it be their theistic God? I think that's what it is. Like, how the truth of the matter on the guy on the left is just like, well, God decides that. I think that's where it is.
Dominoes be more true than the other?
How can one set of, well, yeah, we would just use like a correspondence.
That would be more dominoes.
Theory of, yeah, but that does, you're confusing the epistemic value of it with the like description of it.
Any descriptions would also be domino effects. Like anything you refer to as a process, anything you refer to as a process is more dominoes falling. So I asked him if he believes that he came to naturalism, and he's debating, he actually didn't even choose to be here, in fact, but he was caused to believe in naturalism, and I was caused to not believe in naturalism. So how do we know what's true or false, right? If brain A, from his position, it's not a person, it's a brain. If brain A utters a proposition and brain B utters a proposition, I would ask, under your view, what methodology do you use to determine which is true, A proposition or B proposition from a brain?
Right. So you're telling me that I'm still not accounting for knowledge. I am. Knowledge is JTB. Truth is that which corresponds with reality. So I can adopt a computational theory of mind, and then my brain takes in information from the environment and produces thoughts and beliefs, so it is part of nature. All other brains do the same thing, making them part of reality and nature as well. If everyone except one person agrees, then we know which brain doesn't correspond with reality. It's just like figuring out which calculator is broken.
Yeah.
And furthermore,
yeah, I think that you have to do that, because otherwise, like, how else are you going to have, you can't just rely on your own thinking. You can't just rely on your own ability to understand what's going on, because you could have like a brain aneurysm or something that's like completely dejecting your ability to figure out what's going on. You have to have like some independent arbiter.
if God exists, then God can manipulate your mind and you can't know otherwise. So
True.
you're granting yourself knowledge when it's literally unjustifiable.
Hold on.
You have no idea
Hold on,
if a demon is tricking you.
True.
So that's actually an interesting point, which I'll get to. But the first that you said
What?
computational, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What do we know about computers?
I don't know anything about
Okay.
computers, but
Okay.
what do you mean by that?
Computers
Lots.
don't arise in nature, right?
Oh God.
Well, so I won't be able to like give a very much of a description of this, but I've talked.
Is it talking about like the if-else statements and stuff? The idea of like of how would a computer not be designed by man? You have to give it to him.
I've spoken to computer scientists before, and when they describe just purely what a computer does, like input, some kind of integration, output, they can argue pretty convincingly that like the universe itself is a computer.
I understand.
So
I understand the claim, but the question was, what do we know about
Crystal,
computing?
thank you so
Because
much.
I've heard you say before, the way you escape this deterministic epistemic flaw in naturalism is that you say, well, that's not true. I can point to computers and I can point to calculators. They spit out propositions and they're determined. Is that the case?
Yeah,
Okay.
and some computers don't work properly, but we know how to evaluate that.
Interesting.
Compare computers.
Is it true that calculators and computers need to be programmed by a mind?
The ones that we use, yeah.
So for you to use an analogy to try to escape determinism, you're actually necessitating a mind that if we're the calculator or the computer, it necessitates a mind that programmed us?
Us, no.
Well, then the analogy doesn't work.
I mean, I don't think that's really the case.
It is
What?
the case. You just said human
it's-
beings are computational. I said interesting word.
I'm not.
Thanks, Jesse. Have a good one. See ya. Are you going to try to explain these things as part of things or as a whole? Yeah, I think they're just trying to, like, the big thing for, you know, a creationist is like, it's like very black and white. Has to be, because it has to be whether or not God that allows something or not. You can't have a like wishy-washy inability to kind of like have your own freedom to decide this kind of stuff.
Computation calculator, right?
But
what we know, hold on, what we know about computers and calculators is that they're determined by the mind who programs them. I can make a calculator say
No.
boobies. Is it the right answer? I can program a calculator that says 4 + 4 = pineapple, right? I can program that, right? The question is, how do you know the calculator is spitting out a true proposition or a conclusion or not? Guess what? It's never the calculator that determines that.
God
it's the
decides.
human.
Oh, but then God makes the calculator, so therefore, is that what this is?
That necessitates a mind. In fact, from his view, if he holds that human beings are anything like computers, he's actually doing the work for me. If theism is merely the universal mind that programs human computers, even if it was a deterministic universe, that's theism, not naturalism.
So by computational theory of mind, I'm just talking about how computers work, not what produces calculators. So the computational theory of mind is just about that. So you are basically just changing the subject when you say, oh yeah, well, where do computers come from? It's not about that. It's what creates the computers. Or it's and then I said that. It's about how they work.
Well, Peter, I understand what you're trying to say, but look, I'll get more.
I have to leave now. That was bad.
No, Peterson, the other thing, though, even in computation, we're dealing with information input, right? So you agree that for computation to work, you need an input that has a type of meaning, right, the code. You need a decoder, a system that actually transfer the information, or an encoder, sorry, and then you need a decoder.
So he doesn't think that we could. He doesn't think that we could understand the world, how we can see it without God decoding everything for us. Basically.
Decoder, the human in this case, who's determining the meaning of this thing. So if you're talking about input, evaluation, output as just a purely determined sort of thing that's happening, you still are assuming something that naturalism can't account for, which is for computers to work in any meaningful way, you need meaning. You actually need meaning. You need meaning and information. This is a thing that naturalism can't account for. I ask a million naturalists on my live stream all the time, does information exist? They say, of course it does. I go, how does it?
Peter's misspeak is he meant it would have made Jim Bob's argument correct. That was why he laughed it off and made that last comment. Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. Gotcha.
How, in what way? In what way does it exist? They can never answer this question. They're forced toward a materialistic lens that somehow isolates information as a particle or some substance that they can eventually find inside the brain. But this is a problem because the category itself that information is in, which would include truth, laws of logic, again, naturalism, if it's going to explain reality, but reality consists of metaphysics, information, naturalism has to explain information and metaphysics. You can't just use the thing that it denies to describe the thing that it sees. It just, that's all it is over and over again. It uses a category
metaphysics.
It denies,
why do you have to use,
it describes what it's...
Why do you have to use metaphysics to describe naturalism? I thought it was like, that's the whole point of it, is there is no supernatural part to it. I don't understand. Yeah, no, it's true.
Well, sorry, you're using a whole slew of things that you don't see. Naturalism can't account for the things you don't see, that you use.
Yeah, I mean, you can't see descriptions. Descriptions just are that. But anyways, so we've only talked about naturalism so far, so we do have to discuss the other the other proposition that's up here. Mm-hmm. So how do you account for knowledge when...
Okay, metaphysics is the branch of philosophy that deals with the first principles of things, including abstract concepts such as being, knowing, substance. Okay, gotcha. It's not, I was thinking like a meta physical world, not like, yeah, okay, gotcha. Okay, sorry.
And under your view, your mind could be supernaturally manipulated at any time and you can't know it.
It could be manipulated?
By the devil or by God himself?
Well, you would have to have knowledge of things that could be manipulated, right?
What?
To say, how do you know it's not being manipulated? You're assuming that there is knowledge of what's called manipulation and non-manipulation, right?
We're not doing my worldview anymore. This is according to theism.
Well, you're proposing that something already is the case under this view. So what theism are you arguing, that God manipulates minds?
I'm not the theist. You are.
Well, if you're talking about my view,
you're giving me the burden. It's my question to you.
How do I know?
It's not my burden.
Under my view, it's possible that our minds could be flawed. It's possible that we could be wrong. It's possible, under even my view, that we can be subject to some type of demonic realm, even, right? I grant all of that under my view, right? So the fact that something could be wrong or something.
Oh, nice. Snowboarding adventures. Nice, Dave. Cool. Thanks, man. Have a fun one. Thanks for coming in, dude. Appreciate you. See ya.
Could be right.
I know, Evil. It is very far. It is interestingly how far they put them one another. Yeah.
Or something could be accurate or inaccurate is actually not a problem, because you can still ongoingly discover truth, right? You could participate in truth from my view.
Not if your mind's being manipulated, because you aren't discovering truth, because everything is a lie.
A lie necessitates
by
God.
Satan.
A lie necessitates God.
But explain that.
How do you have a lie without absolute truth?
I asked you to explain it.
I'm explaining it through a question. I'll say it then. To say something's deceptive assumes something's absolutely the case. That necessitates God. Things can't be absolutely the case without a God, because not only the natural world being regular and invariant in its processes, that has to be the case to gain knowledge. To gain knowledge, you have to assume something could be true or false. You're discovering it. You have to assume your faculties, right? God provides an account for our faculties. Our will, we have free will. That's a reflection of God creating us in his image. These things, he doesn't like the explanations, but they actually make way more sense than just saying we're a pile of materialistic sludge that's always in flux. And by the way, my brain is a product of the sludge, which is more sludge in flux. But by the way, I don't believe in God, but I was determined to believe that anyway. Under my view, theism, even general theism, first starting with the category that I'm focusing on, metaphysical, right? You ask me an actual metaphysical question, right? How do you know you're not being lied to? Well, a lie, if I knew what a lie was, then that would necessitate something could be true. So your question actually aids me in my argument for theism, because you and I both hold one thing, at least in common. Truth is universal, absolute, and conceptual, for the sake of this debate.
I don't think so.
Okay, so is truth not absolute?
Well, no, because it's conditional. Before you were born, you didn't exist, so it wasn't true that Jim Bob exists.
No, that's a proposition. So I'm not saying...
What's the status of the proposition, true or false?
Well, no, you're talking about
Because Bork, there could be without that final arbiter, you don't know whether or not what's good or bad. That's what they would say. That you don't know what's right or wrong if there isn't a final judgment call that's not like a separate person.
Second orders of statements, second order of truth claims. So I'm talking about first order, something just exists, right? So the truth itself, I didn't ask of whether or not we have to wait for something to be true. I'm saying truth itself. Is it absolutely the case when I am born that I exist? That's true, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, and conditional.
Okay, and it was true absolutely that before I was born I didn't exist, right?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay. Is there any set of things that need to be true before you make propositions?
Is there any set of things that need to be true before you make propositions?
Yeah, like the past, and from your view, you probably think we evolved from bacteria, and you have an uncle fish or something.
Yeah, fish, monkey, frog.
Fish, monkey, dog, fish, monkey, dog puddle. So yeah, from that view, then there's a truth about the past. Well, this is another problem under naturalism. Naturalism has no access to the past. There's no empirical indication or evaluation. You can't evaluate
it makes
the
sense.
past
Like
directly.
it makes sense why he keeps. I mean, he's circling around and using the same arguments with the with the evolution stuff last night. So that's interesting.
That's a thing you have to assume. right? To even do induction, you're assuming a past exists, that the current state of affairs reflects the past, and the future, you're assuming, seems like the past and the present. Under naturalism, he holds a past. He holds that truth is absolute and precedes human minds. It has to, because there's a state of affairs that need to exist before humans emerge from the pond scum, right? So if truth exists before we exist, how does naturalism account for that?
If truth exists, well, we would just be able to take in information from the environment. I'm not trying to like be
no. Before we can evaluate,
we've really only talked about naturalism so far.
Well,
I really have some theism questions for you.
Look,
we're like 30 minutes
hold
into
on,
open dialogue.
How do we talk?
Done
How do we talk about theism from a position that argues that talking is a determined effect that we have no control over?
You get to assume your worldview. I'm
assuming yours.
This is a good opportunity.
To justify your worldview, you are assuming my worldview?
Look, I can say
anything
anything right now.
One second, I just want to jump in for a quick reset. Is that we do have about 25 minutes left for the open dialogue. So if you did want to cover other topics, it doesn't have to be now, but now is a good time if you guys want to rotate.
We just haven't really discussed theism like hardly at all, and I have some very important questions. So
I mean, Heather, it's a multi-day. It's like
let's see.
Multi-day like event. People like pay money to be here.
What do I want to talk about? So you think that like logic is absolute?
Objective, universal.
What?
Objective. You can use the word absolute, but you really don't need that. But yeah.
Okay, so it's
laws of logic.
Okay, sure.
Thank you,
so let's pretend that the only well, would you agree that it is a logical statement to say that apples are not oranges?
Yeah.
That's like
rational.
That's like identity or whatever.
There's an identity, yeah.
There you go.
So let's pretend that God's mind is the only thing that exists, because I think under your worldview that was the case at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so apples are not oranges. Is that
I
statement still?
I want to go next year for like hopefully we can get them to do something with like the pandemic or something scientific instead of just like flat Earth. That'd be odd. So yeah.
Logical.
Before there's apples.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could that could be contained in the mind of God. Yeah.
But what is God? So what is God? Because you said earlier that like true statements have to be in reference to something. So how is God able to employ logic when there's nothing for God's mind to even reference?
Well, if God definitionally could reference anything in his mind and that contains all things, how is that a problem?
It includes all things.
Because
that's how
then
easy.
all of a sudden
God, it's so easy. The creation apologetics is so easy because it's just like it's done in bad faith, right? It's just like, yeah, of course he knows everything. Like, why would you think otherwise?
So now you've just added something else. You've said God has now had here's the problem with this. Let's do a different example, like 2 + 2 = 4, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's true, and it's never been false
exactly
before.
Evil.
Yeah.
But if God's mind is the only thing that exists, and God says 2 + 2 = 5, is that statement true?
Impossible.
If he just declares that?
Yeah.
Well, if it would have to be consistent. Like, so when you talk about numbers, you would
they're going to do the Trump thing. Is God being literal or figurative? Because God really says what he likes, really says what he means, and but sometimes he's just joking. Like sometimes it's just locker room talk, and he's just joking around. So you don't really know. He's sarcastic a lot. It's like. Oh man!
You have to 2 + 2 = 4 is a whole sequence, right? It's reflective of logic itself. Math is a derivative of logic. So the only way you make sense of 2 + 2 = 4 is that 2 has a value, right, and it maintains its identity, and there's a consequence to the identities coming together, and you get 4. Him just stating 2 + 2 = 5, that could only not make sense to you if you didn't know he changed the variables of the meaning of,
there you
2
go.
and 2, right?
Oh my gosh, I was joking, but that's literally what his argument is right now. He's like, sometimes it's figurative, sometimes it's figurative, sometimes it's literal. That is wild. That is crazy. Yeah, exactly. Heather, it's unironically that, because it's like Jim Bob, it could be two names or it could just be one. Done. You know, like what?
You can't just look at the one statement. The statement itself, the proposition in math, is reflective of logic, which has to hold identity. So all you're doing is, if God changed the identity of 4 to be 5, would it still be true? It would be true logically, but that's not a defeater. That's
then
not,
logic isn't absolute, because you just said that 2 + 2 = 4 is an eternal truth.
No.
Unless God changes his mind, then all of a sudden 2 + 2 = 5 is true.
No.
That is what you said.
No, 2 + 2 = 4 would be a proposition that's downstream from something having to be true in the first place.
Well,
that's why I said logic.
Then it doesn't come from God. God has to follow the rules of math or logic.
God embodies the laws. Like, he can't be illogical.
Okay, cool.
or he can't lie, for instance. So like if you said God's nature, God's nature, right? Truth is reflective of God's nature. You're still talking about truth from a propositional lens. I reject truth is reduced to propositions. You think truth
What is it then?
Well, what is truth? Truth is a person, from my view. But the thing is, a person, yeah.
God.
It's so easy. It's so easy. Oh my God, dude.
God is true.
Yeah, truth.
So if I say 2 + 2 = 4,
no, that's second order.
Or if somebody said to me, "Is 2 + 2 = 4 true?" I could also say, "Yeah, 2 + 2 = 4 is God."
No. We're talking about the absolute source of all truth and knowledge.
Then isn't God an acceptable answer to any question? God, because God is what true is. God.
Well, in a sense, yeah, actually, yeah. That's consistent, but that's not a contradiction. So the thing is, when you ask, is 2 + 2 = 4, you're actually arguing from some sort of it's a coherency theory of truth, right? Do you hold a correspondence theory of truth or a coherency?
That I don't know the difference between those.
Okay, correspondence is mostly what you do, which is like you look at the world and you make statements about the world and you see if it reflects, that which comports with reality. Matt Dillahunty stuff. But the thing is, your statements also have to be coherent, right?
Yeah, and I think if God's mind is the only thing that exists, then no statement is coherent because it's not in reference to anything, which means God can make 2 + 2 = 5 true and 2 + 2 = 4 is true. But a lot of times in these theological debates, they debate logic, like they'll ask you a question, they'll say, okay, is that true? Yes. Can it ever be false? No. So truth is eternal. But if God has the ability to do this, then it really kind of blows all that up. And that's why I wanted to talk about this.
It doesn't blow anything up, because all you're saying is God has the power to change propositional truths, which just makes him the source of all truth, which is my position.
Easy. God, he just never has to prove that. He never has to talk about that, never has to justify that. It's just like, yeah, he knows everything and he's the truth, and that's just what it is. That's where it is. Like, what?
You don't have access before creation, under my view,
to
of evaluate 2 + 2 = 5 or 4.
You can't do that.
Right? If you're saying, well, what if God emanates a proposition, right, a mathematical proposition before all of creation? Can it be false? Well, no, it can't be false at all. Like, he can't say a false thing, right? You're trying to...
I can't either. But if you're just like, yeah, me neither. I can't say a wrong thing either. It's like, what? Like, he's just like, every time. It's so convenient. It's so convenient to have only the right answers.
What you're doing is assuming that math and logic somehow have their own ontology, under my view, absent God. I'm saying, under your view, math and logic and truth have zero ontology. That's why I asked you, what is the status of truth? You said you're here arguing the truth. It's fair to ask from you, under naturalism, what is the way truth exists in this reality, if you say it exists? I haven't gotten an answer.
Oh, yeah, you have. I've answered that like 3 or 4 times, actually.
You said it exists in descriptions, exists in evaluations, exists in propositions, which just moves the question over to what way do those exist? Is it identical to the brain? Is it made of matter? Is it a set of patterns in one mind? For instance, you think the laws of logic exist, right?
I think they're purely grammatical.
Grammatical?
Yes.
How did you get grammatical without first assuming logic?
How do you get grammatical without assuming logic?
Yeah, just define grammatical for the audience.
Well, grammatical is
I would have
the
no
rules
idea.
that govern how language works.
Do those rules govern how nature works?
No, they describe it.
Okay, so you think
They
the laws
can
of logic
describe it.
are descriptions then?
Yeah, they're purely grammatical. Give a non-linguistic logical claim.
Okay, so how do you describe the laws of logic
nothing.
if descriptions need to assume logic exists first?
That was not a non-linguistic logical claim.
So you said the laws of logic exist as descriptions.
That was also not a non-linguistic logical claim. Can you do that?
In what way does the three laws of logic exist? In what way do they exist?
They are descriptive of like reality or whatever. They're you kind of said this earlier, because if it's not in reference to something, then it's a completely meaningless statement. Like Noam Chomsky has this really famous, completely nonsensical statement: colorless green ideas sleep furiously. Now all of us agree that that makes no sense whatsoever, because something can't be colorless and green. Ideas don't sleep. You can't sleep furiously.
Yeah.
What the hell would that look like?
That's contextual, though. That could make sense, though.
Yes, but how could that be?
That could be a code word for someone in the building.
Because of everything we know about reality, it makes no sense. The way we know it is because
they're debating does naturalism explain reality better than theism? And yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, they're very orthodoxy. Yeah, exactly. Shikanadar. Yeah, exactly.
References is not. It doesn't match
Peterson,
up
if
with
I
truth
said the
at
same
all.
thing right now, and a bodyguard knew what I meant, would that statement make sense?
What
if I
does
had
that even
if I had a
mean?
bodyguard right now, and I felt threatened, if I uttered the words you just said, would it suddenly make sense in the world? What did you say? What did Chomsky say? Say the words.
Colorless green ideas sleep
that's
furiously.
code for get in here, I'm in danger. Does it now make sense in the world?
So you just, like, if you privately set that up with somebody else, now you have granted it.
Yeah.
Do you know
so
that
how do you
okay?
know that? No, hold on.
But
How do you,
Jim
no,
Bob,
I
there's
just
a
proved.
huge problem with
I just
doing that.
proved that he doesn't actually know if that makes sense or not, because that could very well have made
Kinda.
sense.
Okay, disprove this then. I know what it means. I set up with
Welcome
a
to your
bodyguard
worldview.
in my brain. I set up with a bodyguard in my brain what that means, and you can't disprove it. I actually just
wouldn't claim.
completely won the debate because I
You
proved
won the
everything I need
debate?
to prove with that statement.
Even
It's just that I'm the only one that knows it.
Peterson, this could mean something to you. It means nothing to
Yeah,
me or the
and you
audience.
disprove it. Disprove my claim.
Why would I? Oh, you're claiming that it means something.
Yeah, no, specifically disprove.
Just that? I don't know what you're referring to.
Okay, and when you do that thing where, oh, well, I'm going to take this nonsensical statement and then just claim it means something, therefore, ha ha.
So you're saying
that's what I just did.
So you're saying truth claims don't need to make sense?
No, they do need to make sense. They have to reference something.
Okay, and when you're referencing something, we're talking about information and meaning, right?
No, they can just reference like physical things, or it could reference.
All right, guys. All right. Well, that was fun. I think I'm gonna take off though. I'm got an early day tomorrow, and yeah. So thank you guys. Appreciate you all. All right. I feel like we all lost. I know. We're going to be debating evolution. I'm going to be debating evolution with Jim Bob, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But hopefully, I think that his evolution debates define early. So I don't think that they're going to go that way. So I think hopefully it'll be good. We watched another one of his debates, and it wasn't like that. So I think it'll be better. So yeah. All right, guys. thank you guys so much to the super fans and the mods. Love you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much to the Patreons, Brian F., Helen, Mrs. Dr. G, Russell Bowden, Ado, Call Me Ness, Rapture, NB Human, Meg, Dave M. Thank you to the top gifters for the channel, Kathleen, Aeronautical, Sheepadoodle, Regmine, Efon, Marlis Dawn, The Miller 2024, Susie M. Vicino, and Ali Arguello. And thank you so much to the top gifters of the stream, Crystal Gaylord 102, Evil Icon, Island Time Soap Company, and to all the likers, 1, 100, 1,000, or 5,000, like Music is Life. And thank you to Cher and Helen and Island Time Soap too. Appreciate you guys so much. Appreciate you. Arguello. Okay, I thought the gracias. Gracias. Hablo español. I just didn't see it. Thank you. Yeah, I won't do that in my debate, guys. That's not going to be my or maybe I do. Maybe I do. We just start talking about ACTs and Gs, and I just like start, from there. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. All right, guys. I'm out. Have a good night. Peace. Bye. All right, YouTube. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jacanadar. Thank you guys. Thank you, Dave Marvin. Appreciate you guys. Input, output, 3414. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you. Peace.